How to deal with imposter syndrome as a coder, overcoming self-doubt in tech. Are you a coder who constantly feels like you're not good enough, despite your skills and accomplishments? Do you feel like a fraud in the tech industry, convinced that someone will eventually expose you? If so, you're not alone. Many coders experience imposter syndrome, a psychological pattern where individuals doubt their accomplishments and fear being exposed as a fraud. In this video, we'll explore what imposter syndrome is, why it's so common in the tech industry, and most importantly, how to deal with imposter syndrome as a coder. Whether you're a newbie in the tech industry or an experienced coder, these tips will help you overcome self-doubt and embrace your skills and achievements. What is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern where individuals doubt their accomplishments and fear being exposed as a fraud. People who experience imposter syndrome often attribute their success to external factors, such as luck, instead of acknowledging their own abilities and hard work. Imposter syndrome can manifest in different ways, including feeling like a fraud, despite evidence of your skills and accomplishments. Believing that others overestimate your abilities and accomplishments. Feeling like you don't belong in your industry or workplace. Feeling like you're not qualified for your job, despite your qualifications and experience. Fear of being exposed as a fraud and losing your job or reputation. Why is imposter syndrome common in the tech industry? Imposter syndrome is common in the tech industry for several reasons. First, the tech industry is constantly evolving, and new technologies and programming languages are being introduced all the time. This can make coders feel like they're always behind and need to constantly learn new skills to keep up. Second, the tech industry has a culture of perfectionism, where mistakes are often seen as failures rather than learning opportunities. This can make coders feel like they need to be perfect all the time and never make mistakes, which is unrealistic and leads to burnout and imposter syndrome. Finally, the tech industry is male-dominated, and women and minorities are often underrepresented and undervalued. This can lead to feelings of self-doubt and imposter syndrome, especially if you're a woman or a minority in tech. How to deal with imposter syndrome as a coder? If you're a coder who experiences imposter syndrome, know that you're not alone, and there are steps you can take to overcome it. Here are some tips on how to deal with imposter syndrome as a coder. Practice self-awareness. The first step in dealing with imposter syndrome is to recognize it and acknowledge your feelings. Practice self-awareness by paying attention to your thoughts and feelings, and notice when you're experiencing self-doubt or imposter syndrome. Stop comparing yourself to others. One of the main triggers of imposter syndrome is comparing yourself to others. It's important to remember that everyone has their own unique journey and experiences, and comparing yourself to others only leads to self-doubt and negative feelings. Instead of comparing yourself to others, focus on your own progress and growth. Celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how small they may seem, and use them as motivation to keep learning and improving. Focus on your accomplishments. When you're experiencing imposter syndrome, it's easy to focus on your mistakes and shortcomings. However, it's important to also focus on your accomplishments and the things you've done well. Make a list of your achievements, whether they're big or small, and read them when you're feeling self-doubt. Remember that you've worked hard to get where you are, and you deserve to be proud of yourself. Embrace your failures. Failure is a natural part of the learning process, but it can be difficult to accept when you're experiencing imposter syndrome. However, it's important to embrace your failures and use them as learning opportunities. Instead of seeing failure as a reflection of your abilities, see it as a chance to learn and grow. Ask yourself what you can do differently next time, and use your experience to improve your skills and knowledge. Seek support from others. It can be helpful to talk to others who have experienced imposter syndrome or to seek support from friends, family, or colleagues. Sharing your feelings with others can help you realize that you're not alone, and others may be able to offer advice and support. You can also seek support from a therapist or counselor who can help you develop strategies for dealing with imposter syndrome and building self-confidence. Keep learning and growing. Finally, the best way to overcome imposter syndrome is to keep learning and growing. The tech industry is constantly evolving, and there's always something new to learn. Make a commitment to lifelong learning and seek out opportunities to improve your skills and knowledge. Attend conferences and workshops, read books and articles, and participate in online communities and forums. Conclusion: Imposter syndrome is a common experience among coders and other tech professionals, but it doesn't have to hold you back. By practicing self-awareness, focusing on your accomplishments, embracing your failures, seeking support from others, and committing to lifelong learning and growth, you can overcome imposter syndrome and build self-confidence in your abilities. Remember, you're not alone in experiencing imposter syndrome. Many others in the tech industry have felt the same way at some point in their careers. But with the right strategies and support, you can move past these feelings and achieve your goals. If you're struggling with imposter syndrome, don't be afraid to reach out for help. Talk to a trusted colleague, seek support from a therapist or counselor, or participate in online communities and forums for others who have experienced imposter syndrome. With persistence and dedication, you can overcome imposter syndrome and build the self-confidence you need to succeed as a coder.